This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so MJ asked about on the last one, why wasn't the back suction working? Why can't you shut it off? Why do you have to use the key to shut off a carburetor with back suction? Hey, remember that when we're in idle right here, in idle, this is all yellow. It is all airlet inlet pressure. And since this is all yellow,
Wait, we can't see what you're talking about.
Yeah, are you sharing screen?
I can see what I'm talking about. What's your problem?
I guess I'm just blind.
Yeah, my mouse is getting all weird here. There, you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Remember that, okay, so when the throttle valve is closed, this is all yellow. And so look over here now, this is all yellow. And if this is all yellow, then it's all yellow through all of these chambers. So you can go rich or lean with this all you want. It's not going to do anything because all you got is inlet air pressure. You got to have suction here for it to do something. So in the idle position, it will always just keep on running just fine.
Oh, so you need a differential of pressure in order to shut it off.
Yep,
Okay.
and you don't have that at idle.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Okay, so then the next question is, how do you shut off the one with the needle type mixture control? Jace.
Just pull it into idle cutoff, pull it all the way back.
That is correct. Pull it into idle cutoff. All right, what two items are adjusted when setting idle conditions in a float carburetor? Scott.
Idle speed and idle mixture.
That is correct. Hey, what I'm going to do, I forgot. I'm going to take roll, but this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it by Q&A. So once you answer a question that marks you here, then you got to let somebody else do it. So wait, who just answered that one? Scott, right?
Yeah.
That means everybody's got to answer a question.
People who already answered them.
Well, I just started. So that was Scott. So there, one.
What about me? Do I count?
Two.
Jace.
Jace, you answered the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I got Jace, I got Scott. So you guys are out.
And I'm here.
And Hector, you're being very noisy. Okay. Find some more questions here. All right, put your hand down there. What is the typical fuel pressure in a float type carburetor? Zach.
3 to 5 PSI.
Excellent. Let me see, Zach with C. All right, 3. Already did that one. Oh, good one here. How exactly is idle speed adjusted? MJ.
You adjust the idle screw at the throttle linkage, which connects to the throttle plate.
All right, that is pretty much exactly how. So let me see, MJ. MJ. All right, next question.
I'm here, by the way.
Yeah, I figured. How exactly is the idle mixture set? Steven.
You check it first for the 25 to 50 RPM drop, and then after that.
Well, wait a minute. My question said exactly. So you have to tell me then, how are you going to check it for the drop?
First, you have to bring your RPM in, and then you drop it out, and you check.
That made no sense.
So, because I know the first step is you check RPM. 25.
What do you mean check RPM?
You do the run up check.
Okay, remember you have to explain it like I don't understand it to get it right. So
You have to bring it up to, I'm trying to remember the exact amount. Hold.
all right, well, we're gonna move on. Daniel.
Muted, bud.
Daniel, you're muted. We cannot hear you.
Sorry. So you need to screw the idle needle, idle mixture needle.
I'm looking for exactly how, like instructions for how to do it.
Okay. So first of all, you checking for idle mixture. So first you put the cut off, mixture control to cut off, and if it's increasing to 25 to 50 RPM and up when the engine die, it's okay. If it's increasing more than 50, like 100 RPM, it means it's reach, and you need to unscrew the idle mixture needle, and if it's dying without any increasing of RPM, you need to screw in.
That was pretty good. You just had your screws backwards. Screw it out for more fuel, screw it in for less fuel. Remember, it's blocking a passage.
Yeah.
So, all right, that was pretty good. All right, let's see. Well, if you're paying attention, this is an easy one. What's an indication the idle mixture is too rich or too lean? Steven.
You'll see if it's too rich, you'll see a RPM increase of above 25 to 50. If it's too low, you will see none.
When will you see this?
On idle cutoff.
Okay. Steven, I'll mark you here then.
I'm right? Yes.
You're right, yes.
That one was all memory too.
Well, it's supposed to be on memory. You're not supposed to be looking at your notes. That's the whole point. It's like passing a test and going, yeah, that was all memory too. What happens if the float sinks either partially or completely? Christian.
You'll run rich.
Okay, you will run rich is correct. Let's see, what is an indication?
Well, I'm here.
What is an indication of worn throttle shaft bushings? Hector.
Sorry, I was muted because it was noisy here. You will suck air through the bushings on the throttle shaft.
Yeah, what does that mean?
That means it's going to be run lean.
Okay, it'll run lean is correct.
So notice when you shut it down, wouldn't it kind of try to keep running?
No, not really. You're just going to run lean, and so you're not going to get an idle mixture rise.
Okay.
Q&A question. What is the purpose of an economizer system in a float carburetor? Julian. Julian.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello.
Oh, so when you go up in altitude, it keeps the fuel from getting rich, and then lower, it doesn't really do anything. It just keeps it where it's at.
No, that is not the purpose of an economizer.
No.
Robbie.
At cruise speeds, it leans out the fuel mix.
Okay, that is correct. Then the next question is, what is the purpose of any power enrichment? Power enrichment. Heath.
To provide more fuel at speed or powers above 75%.
Okay, that works for me. Next question. What is the purpose of strainers in a fuel system? Christian.
To remove debris.
Christian, you already answered a question.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
Go away. Harry, you answered. I'm doing roll here. So if you already answered the question.
Yeah, he got that one right with remove the debris, filter out
Okay.
the contaminants.
Let's see, Harry. Oh, there you go. Gotcha. What Q&A question? Q&A. It's oral practical. Why do carburetors in aircraft have a mixture control? PK.
So when you go up in altitude, you can control it, right? Like you can control the appropriate fuel or mixture for the right power setting.
Okay. Next, let me see. What will be the result of using excessively rich idle mixtures? Eric.
Spark plug fouling.
Ooh, I like spark plug fouling. I'll take that. And who did I? It was Eric, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. All right, all you guys that haven't answered. Next oral practical question. What RPM indications should result when the mixture control is placed in the idle cutoff position when the idle mixture is set correctly? Oh, come on, that was easy. Matt gets the easy question. Or doesn't he? Matt, going once, going twice.
His mic is muted.
Sorry,
I know.
yeah, it was muted. 25 to 50 RPM rise, and then it'll shut off.
Okay, that works. All right, clear all. Oral practical question. What are 3 types of carburetor icing? Kevin.
One is impact. The other is, oh boy, I just went blank. I remember it was impact. Oh, damn. Wait, were you able to hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Oh, I thought I wasn't talking. That's why.
I was waiting for all 3 answers.
It was impact. I forgot the other 2. I know one of them's impact ice.
All right, Richard.
Impact ice, throttle ice, and I don't remember the third one.
All right, third one. Abhi.
I just have 2 of them.
Uh-oh, what are the 3? Hang on, I'm going to see what the FAA says, because this could be divided up a whole bunch of different ways. Let me see.
In our notes, you have ice prevention / removal, 2 types of ice, impact and throttle.
Right. I think they might pull in refrigeration on that one. Power plant. Let me see power plant.
Is that a Q&A, Kevin?
It's an oral practical. What do I have here? Oral airframe and power plant. Yeah. Just got to find the ground operation, servicing, cleaning, control, maintenance. Airframe. Come on, where's section 3? Here we go. Because we'll probably never find the question.
Is that on power plant?
It is.
I can look it up.
All right. Because you do have impact, you do have throttle ice, and you have refrigeration ice. And I don't know if Throttle ice is really a result of that. All right, we'll come back around to that one. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. All right, nobody got that one. Not even me. All right, next question. Can you use automotive gasoline in a reciprocating engine in place of avgas? And Mark, did you already answer one?
I don't know. I've
No, you
answered a
didn't.
bunch.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
The only way that you can use auto gas in place of avgas is if you have the correct STC.
That is correct. Fuel metering systems. Here we go. Yeah, I just pulled out a bunch of questions out of this particular book. Oh, there we go. Purpose. Oh, here we go. What are the 3 types of carburetor icing? Hey, I did get them. Throttle ice, impact ice, and evaporation, or I call it refrigeration icing. So throttle, impact, and evaporation. Okay, we got that one. Let's see. I'm scrolling. What is this here? Oops, these are my, oh, we go, sample oral questions. All right, back to it. What are the 2 most commonly used carburetors in small reciprocating engines? Nick.
Float type.
What?
Upload.
Okay, I need 2 types. That's one. All right, I needed 2. How about Shigun? Give me 2. Shigun once, twice.
I was on mute.
What?
I was on mute. Pressure
Oh.
carburetors, and
Well, pressure carb's one. What's the other one?
flow type carburetors.
Fuel type carburetor? No.
Float.
Kevin.
He said flow.
Oh, did he say float?
Flow and pressure.
He did say flow.
He said flow.
Float? It's float.
Yeah.
Float and pressure carburetor is correct. All right, next. Where does a pressure injection carburetor obtain fuel pressure? Where does a pressure injection carburetor obtain its fuel pressure? I'm running out of people. Richard.
From the fuel pump?
From the fuel pump is correct. Let's see. Might be easier if we just start calling on some of you here. Let's see. What operates the automatic mixture control, the AMC, on a pressure carburetor? Julian, I haven't had going from you yet.
Could you repeat the question? What operates the
AMC on a pressure carb?
You talking about like the bellows or?
No, what operates the
needle?
AMC?
I'm not sure.
Air metering force.
All right, I'm going to move down the list. August. Is August here?
I don't think he's here.
Brushing his hair. He's not even here? So I don't have August today. All right.
I mean, he was here, but
I'm not here now. Duncan. Duncan going once, twice. All right, Duncan's not here today. Duncan, pass.
He said pass on the chat.
Okay.
I hear him a couple times. He's
Charlie,
here.
you've got your hand up. What's up? What do you got for me?
Altitude and temperature.
Hey, that works for me. Altitude and temperature. Nice job. Let me see what else again. All right. In what position do you place the automatic mixture control of a pressure injection carburetor to stop the engine? Really? Kevin, didn't you already answer one?
I did before, but
Oh, you didn't get it right. Sorry to call you out. What is the answer?
I believe it's the ICO.
That would be correct. Idle cutoff is correct. Some of these are redundant. What RPM indication should result when the mixture control is placed in the idle cutoff position when the idle mixture is correctly set? Devin.
25 to 50% or 50 RPM rise.
50% would be a little high.
Yeah, a little too high.
All right, excellent. I didn't write this in my notes, but I did talk about it. What is the purpose of filling a pressure injection carburetor full of fuel and allowing it to soak for a period of about 8 hours prior to installation? Go ahead, Mark, go ahead.
Is it to condition the diaphragms?
That is correct. Condition the diaphragms. I believe that's, are you reading out of the book?
I wish.
Oh, that was, I think the textbook answer was condition the diaphragms.
Is.
Yeah.
So I would if they weren't on my computer.
Okay. That is correct. Condition. All right. Let me see. Sample oral questions. All right. All right. Got a lot of you haven't answered yet. I got Julian, Daniel, Janet, Scott, Dominic, Abby, and Nick. Still waiting for you guys to.
Maybe you have to do it like Phil.
Have to be like Phil, just call on you?
No, just like when you guys answer, you guys can go home.
That's what I was thinking about too.
I answered one. You said I didn't answer one.
What's that? All right. What should be looked for when inspecting an engine-driven fuel pump? God, I've coached you guys on this for an entire year practically. Julian.
I'm still thinking.
Okay. Daniel. Is Daniel even here?
Which
Do I see Daniel? Anybody see Daniel? Let me see.
Don't we normally have 34?
Yeah, it depends on how many. Some of you guys use a lot of. All right, so Daniel's not even here.
Which Daniel?
What's that?
I believe Daniel Miller.
Yeah, Daniel Miller. Janet, is Janet here today? J-Rod, I see you, J-Rod. I just pooped myself. Yes.
She got anxiety, she said.
All right. Janet, the question's to you. What do you look for when inspecting an engine-driven fuel pump? And poop is pretty much not the correct answer. Yes isn't the right answer either. I think she did just poop herself and went away. Okay, leak is, that's good. Excellent, excellent. Leak is one thing. You're not able to chime in verbally, are you? No, okay. I'll got off easy on that one. If you're like, yeah, if you're asking me questions, no, I can't respond verbally if that's what you mean. Nick, go for that one.
You can inspect for leak, wear, or bend.
Is that leak, wears, or bends?
Right.
Well, it's a fuel pump. They don't usually bend, but definitely leaks. Leaks to be the number one answer. Yes, just remember, this is a question you're going to get on your oil practicals. This anytime a question says, what should you be looked for when inspecting, and fill in the blank. And you should already have this in your head, what exactly you're going to say. And leaks, make sure it's properly mounted, make sure there's no cracks. I mean, just start throwing out stuff. So leaks will be the number one answer on that. So I'll mark Nick here and I'll mark Janet here.
Would that be the blue staining?
Yeah, blue staining or even oil staining on these, especially if it's engine-driven pumps. What type of pump?
I know this might be a stretch of a thing, but I was also thinking, when you check these, wouldn't you, if you're in the field, wouldn't you also want to check the last time it was serviced and who did the service in the manual? And not in the manual, but in like the inspection log, like you want to see the last work that was performed.
Well, the question is specific, Steve.
No, I wouldn't even do that, Steve. That's a little excessive, because if you want to start thinking like that, then the list of things that you have to check the logbook for is going to be so long that it would be called an annual inspection, because that's how long it takes you to do it. So, okay, next question. What type of fuel pump is generally used with large reciprocating engines? Julian was making noise, but
what was the question? Someone called me when you're talking.
who heard the question?
I heard reciprocating engines at the end.
What type of fuel pump is generally used with large reciprocating engines?
Oh, wait, leave this to me. Hold up. What type of pumps are used for reciprocating engines?
Yep.
I just took the quiz today.
Oh, good one,
Is
Dominic.
it vane?
What?
Vane?
Yep, rotary vane. We correct. Yeah. All right, this is getting too painful. So let me just see here. Is Scott Cameron here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. You haven't answered one. I'm going to mark you here. Dominic just answered something. Shaw, he's answered. So people I don't have here, Daniel Miller. Duncan, you're here, aren't you? Duncan.
Yeah, he's in the participants, and he also messaged you saying pass.
Yeah, I thought so. I don't see him right now. Anybody see him? There he is. I see him. Duncan's here. Okay. So I don't have Daniel in August. Just two. Daniel, August, correct? Okay. Now open it back up to anybody. What are the functions of the boost pump? Harry.
To supply more pressure than the engine-driven pump, and also to provide fuel if the engine-driven pump fails.
Okay, so I like fuel when the engine-driven pump has failed. What was the other one?
To provide more fuel than the engine-driven pump.
Nope, that is not an answer. Somebody else. Charlie.
To put fuel to the engine-driven pump.
That is correct. Provide fuel to the engine-driven pump. What was your first answer, Harry? I forget.
The first one was just to provide more pressure than the engine-driven pump.
No, what was the correct answer that you get? The one I said was right.
And then to provide fuel when the engine, to buy more fuel. If the engine-driven pump fails, it would provide fuel.
Good. So we got, in case the engine pump fails,
yep.
Charlie's answer was to provide fuel to the engine-driven pump, which is correct. So if it fails, and provide it. And I'm looking for one more. And that would go to Zach.
Help the engine start.
Help the engine start. What do you mean?
It's basically to go up to the engine-driven pump to start it before the engine.
For priming. Say for priming the engine.
Yeah.
All right. All right. What is the purpose of the bypass valve in the engine-driven fuel pump? Mark.
To return the excess fuel that was pumped that the engine did not need to the tank.
No.
And for the vapor?
No. Purpose of the bypass valve in the engine-driven fuel pump.
I heard you wrong.
Jace.
If the engine-driven pump fails, then the boost pump can flow through that bypass valve to the engine.
Correct. Let's see. Oh, this is a hard one. What type of fuel pump can be made to vary the fuel flow at any speed? Kevin.
You said what type, correct?
Yes, what type?
I'm going for a long shot. I believe it would be the rotary vane because of the engine RPM changes it. Doesn't
I
it?
believe you are correct. So I'm going to take that as the correct answer. Let me see. Almost done here with these. What? Well, I guess that's it. You know, ironically, there are almost no questions from the FAA on the most common fuel systems in aviation today, and that would be the fuel injection systems. They really don't ask you much of all, which cracks me up. So,
Hey,
okay.
Kevin,
Yeah.
on these oral sheets on the book for the test preparation.
Yeah. Yep.
There's only a few. I was expecting to see more.
What do you mean? Oh, on the project sheets that I wrote?
No. On the test preparation, the books you buy with the.
Oh, that you buy?
Yeah.
This is the one you want. The Baker School of Aeronautics. This one's really good. Being a former DME, I'm looking at this going, yeah, these were the questions I actually had. I'm recognizing them. So I know
that again, please.
Baker's School of Aeronautics.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, I think I have a cover page I could put up for a minute. Let me see. I copied it, but I can't give it to you because that'd be copyright infringement. Oh, I know where I have it. Hang on. My library. And then let me see, Baker School. They have a lot of books. I don't necessarily think you need all of them. I think some of them are way more than you need. I would buy this one. Hang on, I'm going to bring it up. Share screen. That one, this one. Let me reduce. There we go. So there, Baker School of Aeronautics, Nashville, Tennessee. I've heard a lot of great things about this this particular company. And looking through their book, it's pretty good. So for example, let me see. Where I'm reading it, like they have all this. Let me find out where I was just a minute ago, and I can show you what I was actually doing with you guys.
So are they in Nashville like an actual A&P school like ourselves here?
No, they are not a Part 147 school. They're one of those schools that if you have passed or if you have the ability to take your tests, then you can go to this, but aren't ready, then you would go to this school. This school is an absolute and complete total waste of money for anybody who has in my passing our program. This is more, I would say, for people who went to one of those schools who had all those red numbers and did not do a good job, or you didn't pay attention and got a C coming out of this class, this program, then yeah, then you probably need to pay the money and go relearn what you should have learned to begin with. But you guys are all going to be well prepared to go. But if you were coming out of the military and doing this based upon, what was I going to say? Experience, then yeah, this would be a great school. Looking for, where was I? There we go. Aircraft fuel systems. Yeah, so I was reading, the aircraft fuel systems. But just trying to find where I was with you guys, what I was reading. Engine fuel systems. How was I doing? Lubrication. There it is. Page 91. I was on page 91. So I'm just, so I went through this And anything that was applicable to my class, I actually now put it in your, I call it sample oral questions for your oral practical with me in class, which that's one of the things I did this year that I've never done before, is really give you pretty much all the questions I'm going to ask. But of course, that means that there's very little leniency when I ask you a question. You go, I don't know. I'm like, well, you knew I was going to ask it. So right there, what are 3 types of carburetor icing? Throttle ice, impact, and evap ice. What is the typical fuel pressure in a float carb? 3 to 5 PSI. So these are all the questions I'm asking you with the answers. But there's some that, of course, I didn't select, like what's the purpose of fuel selector valve? So I didn't ask you all the questions. I didn't cover fuel selector valves. So what's the purpose of an engine-driven pump? Continue to supply fuel at proper pressure at all times during engine operation. So there you go.
Could you show the title page one more time, please?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Baker's School of Aeronautics, Nashville, Tennessee. And I've got one of our past students, he started in the program, but then he just wanted to get out there and work, and he had his authorization from the military to take his tests. So he did like 1 semester with us. Man, I just want to go to work, dude. And so he didn't take the program, but he went to this Baker school. He said it was good. These are his books.
How long is it?
I don't know. You have to look it up. But I've got in front of me a whole stack of them. So I've got the supplement book. I've got the general study book. I got the power plant study book. I got the airframe study book. But I don't think you need these because these are your Q&As. So I would just, if you bought the Q&A books, which you better do, you don't need the Bakers. Or buy the Bakers if you want instead of the ASA ones. It's up to you. I don't care. Is there something?
Yeah, see the Bakers for the oral and practical test guide. It's a $50 book.
Well, here I just went to the back here, home study books. Let me see what we got here. Home study book, AP, FAA. I don't know. So that was $50 book. I think it's worth it.
Oh, definitely, if it helps with the oral understanding.
Yeah.
Hey, Harry.
Yes.
Where did you find it?
I was just Googling it on that Baker's because their product